Good morning, everyone. It is 9 a.m. I'd like to welcome everybody to the November 17th work session. Ellen, do we have any public comment?
Yes, Elliot Terrell.
Who is speaking? Are y'all going to get up and say?
Charles.
Charles. This is Terrell. Come on up here and explain what you got here.
How you doing? Good
How you
morning.
doing?
Doing well, sir. And we are talking
About the floor results.
Okay. So we conducted an asbestos survey some weeks ago, and in some of the flooring material, we have non-asbestos containing floor tiles, but the adhesive that is holding that floor tile to the substrate does contain some asbestos minerals. Now, asbestos is a natural occurring mineral and commonly used for many, many decades as a filler in a lot of our building materials. In fact, EPA has identified over 3,000 different building materials with asbestos in it. Now, I was just brought into this in the last day or so. We are concerned about any potential exposures from this material, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I've been in the environmental health and safety field 42 years. And as a young man, I was an EPA asbestos enforcement officer dealing with renovation and demolition of facilities. EPA divides asbestos-containing materials up into two large groups. Friable materials that when dry we can crush by hand pressure and are considered potentially the worst case for us for getting an exposure. The other big area is non-friable materials. These are the GUIs and gummies that you may hear people talk about. It's an asbestos-containing material, but it's bound up in an organic matrix. So our floor tile mastics are in an asphaltic material. It's a non-friable material, and EPA considers that to be of a lower concern, much lower concern, than the friable materials. So we have a non-friable material that's on our floors that's encapsulated by or enclosed by a non-asbestos containing flooring material. So EPA is going to look at this and say there's no exposure potential there because it's enclosed, encapsulated under another material, and we're not disturbing that material, therefore it's not getting airborne, and it's not going to impact our occupants of the facility. OSHA is the same way if we're looking at worker protection scenarios. What they are concerned about is when we decide to go in and demolish or renovate and disturb over 260 linear feet or 160 square feet of this material. At that point, there is a potential for exposure. But as it sits right now, they don't consider it a potential for exposure in this situation.
That's kind of what we needed, just to kind of, I know we had to reach out about it, and I just got the expert, and I've also reached out to the guy up at Ardmore that you gave me his name, Sandy Hardiman, about coming in if we decided to remove it all, what it would look like and all of that. But I just wanted to let the public know that there's, not if we disturbed a whole bunch of that in there and moved there's no health threat whatsoever.
The EPA regulations don't kick in until we disturb 160 square feet, so
No.
that's when that comes into play at that point.
Well, I appreciate you coming in and displaying that for us. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time. All right. Next.
Evan Campbell.
Evan, if you don't mind, step up here to the microphone, please, sir. How you doing this morning, Evan?
I'm doing all right, Colin. How you doing?
Doing good.
Good to see you this morning.
Good to see you.
Good to see y'all. I'm good to go.
Yes, sir. Let her roll.
All right. I'm Evan Campbell. I work for Purple Wave Auction. We run online equipment auctions. Limestone County resident, been with Purple Wave a little over a year now, and we're headquartered out of Manhattan, Kansas. But anyway, we specialize in working with government agencies and construction companies, farmers, ag companies, and dealers and such. With a sales where it sits equipment auction method. So we come to you and essentially handle the auction process for you. And we, like I said, done a lot of work with counties and municipalities and such, moving equipment for you guys. And what makes that process work with us is we essentially come to you and handle everything for you. So we come take pictures, videos, gather the descriptors, and then list your equipment that you're needing to sell on our platform. And whether it's you need to sell one piece or you need to sell 10, it doesn't matter. We auction it either way. So, you're not having to deal with transporting anything like you would if you use some of our competitors. And we kind of take the process out of your hands so you don't have to worry with it because we act as a closing house. We essentially offer a full service process. Like I said, that includes us coming to you, building the listing ourselves, handling the marketing all ourselves, and then we handle title transfers, UCC pulls, any of that stuff that has to be done. We offer that with no additional charges. So we do everything, and like we have for 25 years, no reserve. And we run them no reserve because we don't like playing games and we don't like wasting time. And we believe, and the numbers back it up, that you can see through our complete transparency through our website and seeing all past results, that no reserve equipment auction brings the highest dollar for your equipment. If it's done by the right people in the right hands, and I'm confident that we are the right people to do that because our motive is to run good, honest auctions. And so in a no reserve auction, that gives bidders the freedom to bid. And if you're an honest auction company, more bidders will show up to bid on the equipment selling. And if they trust you, they're going to bid more money. And again, you can see all of that because we're incredibly transparent. You can see results, all results on our website to back up that statement. We're really good with dump trucks and construction-related equipment. And we run auctions every week, 2 to 4 auctions a week. In government, we run industry-specific auctions. So in government equipment, it's on a 2-week cycle. Construction equipment, a 2-week cycle. Ag equipment, 2-week cycle. And we do this year-round. So you have windows. Essentially, every 2 weeks you have a window if you need to sell something that we can put it in an auction. It's live for bidding for about 4 weeks. Closing date comes, buyer pays us, we pay you, buyer organizes pick up with you guys. So, like I said, we've made the process very easy and simple and keep it straightforward. So no games are played and there's no funny business that goes on. Yeah, I think, would I get 3 minutes right? I'm probably about out of my 3 minutes now, but plenty more, but yeah, that's probably the gist.
All right. Well, Evan, if you don't mind, you're going to stick around during the break. They can speak to you if they have any questions.
Sounds good. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Evan. Anybody else?
No further comments.
All right. Thank everybody for their comments. And like always, if you ever have any you can't get in here with us, please email them to us, send them to us, call us, whatever we need. We'll be glad to put them in the minutes. So first thing on here is the minutes from November the 3rd. Anybody got any discussion with the minutes? All right. Hear none. Next one will be the claims in the amount of $1,831,280.28. That'll be coming up. Anybody got any issue with any claim? All right, conflicts of interest. Anybody got any conflicts of interest or anything coming in front of the commission today? Everybody's silent, so I'll take that as a no. Public hearings, we have none. Resolutions and orders. First one on here will be to approve a resolution authorizing Limestone County to protect the county's interest by entering into the development. The SSUT, this is the one that the State ACE Association has put out. This is the, to be joining up with the state to fight the litigation on this, just to protect our interest in the ISSUT. Anybody got any discussion with that? All right, hearing none, we're moving on. Next will be to approve a TARCOG for the COA Senior RX program, and this is just an every year, we sign up with them every year. All right, next will be to approve an employment agreement between Limestone County Commission and Daphne Ellison. This begins December the 1st to 25 and ends November the 30th to 26. Anybody got any issues with that? And if they do, they can reach out to Drew or Eddie's up in the audience if they have any questions on that. But Daphne is she's retired and comes back and works part-time, and this is just a retirement agreement where she comes back and works part-time. Anybody got any discussion? All right, next one on here will be to apply for a grant through the Department of Justice for bulletproof vests for our sheriff's office. And as always, it's always great to try to apply for stuff to make our officers safer. Anybody got any discussion with that? All right, budget revisions, we have two listed below. Anybody got any discussion with either one of the budget items? All right, no discussion, we'll move on to that. Emergency purchase, we have none. Board appointments, we have none. Award of bids and quotes. There is one on here for a 15-ton trailer. This is District 4. Did y'all get this up to y'all? I knew y'all was having a discussion if it was the right trailer or not.
It was.
Everything is good? Okay. All right, so that would be on there too. Anybody got a discussion with that? All right, personnel action, be to approve to transfer Ella Ross Edwards Holden, say that fast about 3 or 4 times. So to be from network, from IT over to the sheriff's office as an forensic evidence examiner. And this be a retroactive on the 3rd. Anybody got a discussion with Ella moving over? And as always, it's always great to see other employees getting promoted around, so. All right, merit increases, we got several listed here. Anybody got a discussion with the merit increase? Y'all mighty quiet today. Engineers report, Mr. Massey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have 2 subdivisions for you guys to consider today. Stony Point Phase 2, this is a major for preliminary approval, creating 44 lots in District 2. And then we have Gales West Phase 1, it's a major for final approval, creating 57 lots in District 1. So this is up by the golf course, so one of those developments up there. So those are the 2 items that we have for your consideration today. The paving crew, they're still out working. They're on Henry Road today, hopefully moving to Dement and getting started on Dement. And then continuing through our paving schedule. We did meet last week, opening up some communication with our supplier for the materials. So we're going to give that a week or so and see how that goes. Hopefully we see improvement in the availability of the materials and the timing of the delivery. So for our asphalt, so hopefully that speeds us up, gets us back on track like we want to be. Then I think that's all that I've got as far as update. But if you guys have any questions or anything, let me know.
Thank you, Mark. Anybody got anything else for Mark? All right, moving on. Other business, got a few items on here. First thing will be to remove the following from inventory. Anybody got any issue with either one of those? The next one is, we're going to scratch it off, number 2, but I'll go ahead and mention it because it will be coming back to us. And the reason to mention this is we've done this in the past for, this is for a Bateman out on North Alabama Laser Fab, small local business guy, born and raised in the western part of the county. You know, a lot of times people say we don't do things for a lot of small business, but I know he has been out there, Greg's been out there many, many years and has done a lot of good things in this county and a local guy. So he's buying a piece of equipment and he qualifies by law to get an abatement on the piece of equipment. So we've done this for Greg several times over the years and just mentioned it, but that Bethany will be bringing that to us. All right, number 3, as last week, we went into the executive session, discussed this. This would be to approve Jonathan Yearden, IT, to make any necessary decisions regarding the cybersecurity and the cybersecurity insurance that we talked about in the last. It's just for our cybersecurity stuff. I just want y'all to know what that's about. Anybody got anything with that? And I got a couple things here before we move on. Number 1 was the asbestos talk that the gentleman talked about was about the Market Street building. And as y'all know, that is the building out there beside the EMA. Like I said, Sandy Hardiman is supposed to be giving me a quote on what it would take. The tile in the building is getting old and the building has been there for several years and it's getting some wear to it. And I know the other day, actually, last meeting, Alan was down there going to tell them to go by and get some samples to try to paint up, but it's almost impossible to work on a building with people's in it like that, especially with this deal. The tenants in the building, and the gentleman, we can ask him that question, but I think that they would have to evacuate the building while we renovated it. So as county government, that's something we're going to have to make a decision on in the future. The 4 offices in there, none of them are county offices. They are outside offices we just supply space for. So we would have to figure out how we would maneuver through that, because I'm pretty sure that removing this and going down to the concrete would be a timely consumption of matter. And if we did do that, and I know if we're going to if we're gonna, we can go in there and put some stuff on top of the floor, but it's not really gonna last good. I mean, you can put, a lot of contractors won't warranty the work. That's the biggest thing. A lot of the contractors that I've talked with over this for the last week will not warranty the work they do unless we go down to the concrete. And so with that being said, we got to figure out, how do we want to maneuver forward through this? That'll be a decision that I'm going to get when Sandy Hardiman and that company comes in and gives us an evaluation of what it would cost to remove it, and we throw forward what it would cost and how it would look and what it would do, because, I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it none. The building is old. It was built in the 70s, and I mean, it's probably built before the 70s, but it's probably it's got the weirdest green walls in it. It's got and if we go to doing this, it's going to be some ADA compliance. It's going to have to be, because if you go to touching it, you're going to get bathrooms more compliant. So we might want to look at how we supply those organizations what we supply them. So that just wanted y'all to know that the outcome of this could be, if we decide to go that route, or I know that if we leave it alone, it stays like it is. But if we go through the next process, it's a timely, a lot of work, and the people in those offices are probably going to be out for several months. Because I'm just guessing the time they remove it, take all the walls out, paint the walls and go back, and if the tile run under because I don't know if the walls were built after the floor was put down, or they were, but we don't know all that until we get an expert to come in and give us a quote on it. So I know that y'all had asked the question. I just wanted to give y'all in the public perception to where we're at. So be totally transparent with y'all on it. That's where we're at with it, and as quick as we find out any more, we'll go from there, and we'll know more in the coming weeks on that. And also, other business, I want to thank our maintenance staff. They've got the courthouse decorated up for Christmas, so we get in the festive season. I think we get a little too earlier every year, but it's looking good. But we got to be ready for the Christmas open house. So with anybody out like that, so. Has anybody got anything else other business-wise you want to discuss while we're in other business?
I wanted to bring something up. Spoke to LaDon earlier about proposal that he thinks is a good idea, and then we talked about, we've got our financial report back in, the end of the year financial report, and how we came in this year. We came in under budget, and what we did looked good. Our people did a great job managing the money, and our revenues were more than anticipated, so we came in with a surplus this year. LaDon had thought about the possibility that we look at taking part of the money and setting aside for matching funds for grants in the future. That if we get a federal grant or a state grant, instead of looking for taking the budget, that we set a pool of money aside just for matching grants at that point in time to do it. I think that's a great idea. I think we could also, at the point of the time where we did the surplus, is look at moving some of that money to the districts to do some of the paving projects that need to be done and put off. I would suggest that if we took 75% of the surplus that we finished the year with, we could put half that money into the fund that LaDon suggests that would be a matching fund, and the other half into the district, so that we could prioritize some of the projects. I know each district has projects that we need to address. That would give us the possibility to do that. I think we can make a major impact on some roads that we've been putting off because we didn't have the fund in our normal processes. And since we've got extra money at the end of this year and our reserves seem to be sufficient for us going forward for emergencies, I think it's an excellent idea for us to put some of that money into each one of the districts. And not spend it all on that, but also put the money from it. I mean, obviously, we've talked about bridges that are going to come up. There's going to be other projects that there'll be opportunities for state and federal money that require matching. Instead of having to look where we're going to transfer it out of our regular budget, if we had a pool set up that we could pull from, I think that would make it easy and clean for us. So I'd like to suggest we consider putting that on the agenda and voting on it in the future.
Well, me and LaDon had actually met with Emily about this one day. Me and him had several conversations. With Emily, like I said, Emily said in the report the other day, that we did need to buy a few more bonds or something to get to the point. I know you have been real suggesting that we invest money into buying bonds and things. That was one of the things that Emily had suggested the other day we talked about. And like I said, our financials will actually come out in the paper this week. Everything's looking good. We have done a good year, and it's a group effort. It's done by everybody, and we have done a really, really good job of getting the county into financial shape to where we need to be. I don't have we've talked about this several different times of how we would look forward. We actually done this with the dump truck sales. I came up with that a few years ago, and that's actually kind of where we got to last year. We put some money aside last year And that's where we took the $500,000 we had left over and paved in his district. We're doing roundabout in your district.
Yes, sir.
And so we had actually been working that process for several years now, just getting to where we're at. And like I said, I mean, as far as a resolution to vote on or whatever, I mean, I don't think we had to do that. We just figure out what we're going to do. I mean, it's, you know, and like I said, Emily has kind of navigated us through that over the years. And like I said, last year, we actually took that money and set aside for the last couple of years. And I know we got the project going on in District 1 with Bethel Road, and that's a lot of what we're going to take the $500,000 that we put in that account last year. We took $2 million last year and set it aside for that.
Yes, sir.
And so we did that, and where, like I said, at the end of the year, I know you've done some paving in yours and finished up, and Don has done a lot down around the river. And I mean, and here's the deal, I mean, I've said this, and we've all talked about it. You know, if we come up with some list of some projects or whatever, I mean, I don't have a problem with us, you know, the Public Building Bridge Fund, that's what it's for. I mean, you know, we got to come up with some list of projects, and I don't mind us looking some projects up there. And I know we're fixing to talking about building a animal shelter we've got to build.
Yep.
And I just want to, we got to build an animal shelter, and we've also got to do, we're going to do, probably looking at commission offices, and we're looking at, we're fixing to probably spend several thousands of dollars on this building down there, and that comes out of public building funds. So a lot of the, you know, that's where you get into where you get your reserves to save out of borrowed bond debt. So we're, yeah, we'll look at whatever, I mean, whatever y'all decide. I mean, y'all vote on this stuff. I mean, it's whatever y'all want to do, so.
Well, I think on the matching money, me and Mark's talked about this for several years, trying to come up with a way, because, I mean, some of our districts come up with, you know, there's money in Montgomery, but then we got to have matching money to pull it out of our district budgets, you know, would be tough on us. And that was something that Mark had brought up, and kind of we talked through it. Mark, you may want to explain a little bit more or whatever.
Yeah, we were just, I think, like you were talking about having the funds that go to the districts each year. We have been, well, this past year, we did have that, and that's been beneficial. I do think one of the things that we run into is when it comes time for, we do go and get, whether it's the DOT or FHWA, to come in and commit to a project. Most of the time, the FHWA is at least going to be 20%, and then, or DOT, a lot of times it's a 50% match for a project. Well, one of the things that we do run into, which we've been fortunate because they had the $500,000 this last year to where we were able to say yes to some things, but just trying to come up with a way that we know that's kind of perpetuated if it was some type of a fund that was earmarked for, okay, if one of the commissioners does get a grant, that'd be something that could be, a budget revision could be done fairly easily, and they know it's there, but that's really, I think, I'm assuming that's what you're
Yes,
kind of
sir.
talking about, just knowing that there's that they can go to and feel comfortable at the time of the meeting, because a lot of times, you know how it is. You may be sitting with the DOT director, and the DOT director wants an answer right then. Are you going to come up with the 50%? I mean, it's a $750,000 project. You have 50% of it. And they're sitting there doing the math on their budget. They may not have it in any given year, but if they know, hey, there is this that everybody has already voted on and agreed on that can be used, well, then they feel comfortable answering that question, and that yes, they can do it. But that's the only reason I think that's the reasoning behind what I was thinking on that.
That's fine with me. I mean, I'm 100% supportive of it, you know, I mean, that's one of the hard decisions we've made over the years, you know, I mean, I'm all for us doing things with infrastructure. I mean, that's,
Well, that's one thing that's
Yeah.
been, you know, we all know, you know, here in the last several years, we've got the resources have been better.
Oh, yeah.
Before that, you know, we got roads out here that have been paved in 30 years,
I agree.
30 plus. And that's something.
The road I live on is one of them.
Well, I'm with you. So, but we really need to take advantage of this opportunity if we can.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
this is a time that we can really make a difference right here in line.
Wouldn't necessarily be earmarked to any district, but it would just be a pool that y'all have all agreed to, that, hey, if the opportunity comes up, I'm assuming that's what y'all are
On
saying.
that side of it. And
Correct,
on the
that
other
side.
side of it, I would really like to try to.
Kind of like what was done this last year, just to
Yes.
make sure
With
that
the
you.
500, so.
You know,
I mean, I'm good with that.
For me, from looking at it, I mean, I look at our situation right now with the abatements coming off, that we've got several abatements coming off, the economy's been good. We're, you know, you look at Pharaoh's dreams that Joseph interpreted, we're in the 7 fat years. There's going to be 7 lean years come at some point. We've seen them before, and they'll come again. So investments we make now that are going to pay for 20 and 30 years in the future, that we put the money in a place for that, while we have it and maintain the safety net of the reserves, I think those investments are paid great dividends for us in the future.
And I'm good with it. I mean, like I said, I've sit in there and pounded my head against the wall many a times trying to figure out what, I mean, and, you know.
Well, yeah, we've sat in meetings trying to figure out where that money's gonna come from, and, because you know how it is. I mean, the DOT director will look at you.
That's why I started putting $2 million aside a couple of years ago, when we
Yeah,
started
we did.
throwing it back to where we done it, and at the end of the year, if it
Made a
didn't.
difference.
The DOT director looks at you right then and says, hey, it's gonna cost you $375,000. You ready?
I mean, we get into it a lot of times, we got into it here a while back with the project down at Pryor Field.
Yeah.
You know, we got into it with it down there, you know, to where you didn't have enough money to do the project after you done, you know, because, but yeah, I mean, hey, if y'all wanna take, I mean, we can do whatever, I mean, you know, we can do something like that.
I like having projects that we can, like I did
And I've
this
always
year, and
said-
y'all did. I mean, I like that idea. You know, I did a whole section of roads in one area. The next year, I want to move and do a whole section of roads in another area to try to make a difference. Because, I mean, our roads are an investment.
Oh, yeah, I'm
It's an investment. and we
investing in
really
our
need-
people, that's what we're doing.
And we need to invest that back into our roads and infrastructure.
And I think, you know, right now, we can earmark that money for district, roads in the districts and that sinking fund that we put in, and as we have surpluses, we can grow that fund if we need it each year. I think it'd be a good policy for us to set up to do.
You know, and that goes back into the kind of like the deal with outside appropriations. You know, we've talked about that, you know. Well, I'm gonna say this is the last 3 years, and last 2 years especially, we have funded every department head in this county 100% of he asked for.
Yep.
You know, and I think that's what our main goal is every year, is to fund our departments and department heads. I mean, just like the districts and all, you know, we've done a good job with that. We've done a good job with the sheriff's office. We've done a good job with everything. You know, my suggestion would be is like we said, if we're gonna do this route, you know, y'all have even mentioned look, at the end of the year, instead of doing appropriations in budget time, I mean, you know, that was one of the arguments with the budget
Do it at
was,
the
is,
end.
you know, I mean, if we're gonna do that, why don't we just move the appropriations and all to the end of the year and take what we've got left over and do a little percentage put aside. If we have the money, we have it. If we don't, we don't.
And,
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm saying, I don't know what we do.
I mean, you know I was gonna vote for that.
If our money's good, their money's good.
That's
right.
If our money's bad, I'm sorry it wasn't there this year.
right.
Yeah.
I'm 100% agree with that. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, me and you using the other day when me and Emily was talking about it, you know, I mean, I'm 100% for this project, and that was kind of a plan that I've had up from the whole, I mean, me and Mark's talked about this over the years. You know, that's how we got to where we got to with the $2 million we set aside this year. That gave us the opportunity to match money for projects that was coming
Kind of
along.
brought this up for me was Darrell. You know, he had the 500,000, and I mean, I'm paving roads with it, you know, and you get to utilize all of it. Well, Darrell's got to put a portion of it toward that
That's right.
bridge. He really needs to pave roads too, and you know, he had to use part of it for matching money. And I wish we had another avenue for
Yeah,
that,
big-
where he could.
So you know what your budget is, but there's that other part of money for matching when it comes up.
And that's
without
kind of what
having to
this
worry
was.
about-
That's what this was originally started as.
I know.
Because y'all got the gas tax money and the Rebuild Alabama and the A-Trip
Yeah.
money and all that,
Right.
that's already out there. And then we took this other and put aside for matching money, and if you didn't use it for a project, then you could use it for that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we got to.
I just hated that Darrell could, you know.
Well, no, I mean-
utilize all his to pave roads, you know.
Well, he's, I mean,
Another
we're fixing Bethel Road,
I know.
the other
I
portion
know.
of Bethel Road, so that
So-
was, yeah. It just, hey, that's like the roundabout. It's been talked about since I've been here.
Yeah, it's been talked about, but we finally, this last year and this year, got the funds to be able to do
We
it.
finally got that to where that district's gonna get that roundabout. So, I mean, that's where we're doing it for, so, yeah. That's
right.
And that's paving of a road.
Yeah, but.
That is, I mean, it's like, I mean, that's paving of a
It
road,
is.
you know, I mean, every bit of it went to infrastructure, every bit
It did.
And I figure I'm gonna get cussed a lot this summer when they put the roundabout in.
You ain't heard nothing yet.
Once it's finished, I think we'll be happy.
It'll be good when you get into
You talked about making a sailor blush earlier today. That's, you're gonna hear some of that.
It'll
Yep.
be good.
Everybody's got a problem. Anybody else got anything else, other business-wise? If you don't, we'll recess for 15 minutes, and I only know what time it is, I can look at my clock. We'll be back here at 9:45.